And we're back with another episode of Farm Sim 25 Builds. Today, we're going to build a farm, guys. This has been a highly requested thing. We're going to build it on Kinlaig, but you can build this on any map as long as you have the space. I'm using plot 1 on the beautiful map of Kinlaig from the Highland Fishing DLC. Now for starters, let's make a level space for our house. Always make a space that is fully level and make it bigger than you need. Be sure to do that, that's very important. When you go to use a soften tool, if you don't have it big enough, it's going to make some weird ridges around your house, and you don't want that. So we're going to use a small barn dominium. Keep in mind, guys, bottom left hand corner shows the mod names. If you have any issues, pause the video, look at that little name down there, search it up. That'll be your best way, okay? So we are going to hit this rough terrain here with that soften tool and get that smoothed out. See how when we made it bigger there, it just made it look that much better. Now, since this is a farm, we're going to need a barn and somewhere to store all of our equipment. So let's make another level space out here. And we're going to put it back here. I think this will be far enough back. So we're just going to place it. Now keep in mind, this is all random, guys. None of this has really been planned out. But you just kind of figure it out as you go. Like I said, it's always important, make a level spot. So we want a nice garage for this guy as well. Besides this 2-stall, you need some more parking than just a 2-stall, right? We're men. Alright, so we're going to hit that soften tool, make this look like it is on kind of a slope back there. That looks really nice. Just keep going back and forth with that soften tool as much as it takes. Sometimes you have to move the strength up. I usually don't, unless it's like a really aggressive hill like right here. Otherwise, you can just use the lowest strength. That usually is enough. So I see we've got space here and here for parking, but we also kind of want a shed for our mower, you know, weed whacker, things like that. There's a shed and others here. I'm struggling to remember the mod name when I find it here. Looks like it is the Wooden Farmhouses mod. Gives you this shed. It goes in others. You can actually open it up and there is a storage room for chainsaws, paint cans, all of that. Once again, hit it with the soften tool. Look at how nice that looks now. You can drive anything up to that with ease, no issues. It just looks way more natural and better. So all this space here, we are going to do animal pens. I like to use the fenceless pasture ones, so when doing that, if you want to do lakes or ponds, anything like that, you have to be sure to do them before you place the pens. It will not let you edit the ground once you place the pen. So we're just going to make some ponds right now. We won't place the water yet, we're just going to make the indents for them, okay? So we got one there. We're going to put one up here between our little shed and our big barn there. And I like to hit these with the soften tool. I don't like my ponds super deep. I just kind of like a divot in the ground where we can get the water up to it. I decide back here, we're going to add another pond. You can never have enough water, guys. Especially with this DLC being able to fish in any body of water. Such a nice touch. So I tend to add a lot of water and ponds. I do use the rock paint, so the rock paint I think looks the best for the ponds. So we throw that down just to kind of mark our area. It is way easier to paint ahead of time than it is later on. So I also decided that we want a greenhouse. So we're going to flatten another area. Like I said, very important. Always level your ground. Now this is part of the Universal Large Greenhouse Pack. Pretty nice mod, can produce a lot of stuff. Sometimes the greenhouse can be pretty slow, so we're going to use this bigger one. I've never actually used this one in gameplay, but I figure this will be a nice time to try it out. And we'll just tuck that back behind our barn. Kind of a good spot for it. That barn does have some shelving in it, and we will add an extra rack later on. Now with the fenceless pastures, you have to be sure that you place it on a semi-level ground or it will mess up your area. So we're going to level a spot out and then soften it. This is where our horse food trough will go. And then since the fenceless pastures doesn't have a building, I usually give the horses a shed to kind of, you know, have for shelter, quote unquote. You know the vibes. So we'll throw that down there. Once again, if you guys need any of the mod names, just pause the video and it'll show it there, okay? Over here, we're gonna do sheep. I like doing sheep over the goats. I don't really care for dealing with the goat milk, so we're gonna make an area pretty big here, because once again, you've got to deal with the productions, the wool or milk, depending on what you go with, right? So I did make an area pretty big there and tried to soften it out, kind of made the area a little smaller than I wanted. So I go back with that level tool, make the area bigger again, and then I hit that a little less aggressively, just so it doesn't mess up my ground later on. We're gonna just throw that grass back down there. I believe in using grass everywhere. What is nice with this grass too, guys, is you can plant it like this. If you go and mow this and hold on to it, you can feed this to your goats or sheep. So that's free food right there. If you like the mowing, I do. So I usually use the long meadow grass. Now remember, if you accidentally get grass where you don't want it, as long as it's not like on the road, press X or I believe it's square on a PlayStation controller and it will delete where you just painted that grass, wherever the cursor is. So keep that in mind, that is really useful. Otherwise just go slow, especially around roads. You get grass on the road, you kind of just have to either back out and hope that you had saved it recently or deal with it. No one wants to do that. So just be very, very mindful when you are doing your grass. Don't get grass where you don't want it. Alright, let's place our pastures. So right about here is where we had the goat one. And I do like to do the custom fence. So we're just going to throw this around. I'm going to put my own fence down. So I don't like the fence options in this game. So I'm going to do my own custom fence here. And yeah. And since I have my own tall grass, I'm not going to have it plant the meadow. That does kind of mess with your ponds and things like that. So I'm not going to do that. We'll throw the horse one here. And then you can kind of see where the bushes are for the outline. So we're just going to kind of match it up there and run our horses around. I was going to run the horses in front of the house here, but I didn't really like that. So I clicked the right thumbstick, brought it back, and went around this way. Once again, don't plant that meadow. If you've already done the tall grass yourself, there's really no point in it. Let's do our fence now. Fences can be tricky with the food here, so keep that in mind. Go slow, and I like to do it section by section when I'm around the food and water trough. Section by section is really important. Also, don't forget to put gates. You got to be able to access your animals, guys. I commonly will forget to do a gate, and I'm like, oh shoot, that's not it, you know? So don't do that. We'll throw a couple gates in. And then look for our lines. So you can see I zoomed out just to see where we were at, and we'll match that other fence up with this one. Now, I know guys, this is a Scottish map. I'm building an American farm. Oh no, oh no. Do it on any map. It's okay. I really like this map and I'm American, so I wanted to build an American farm. Sorry. But you can do this on any map, guys. Just follow along and put your own twist on it if you want, or do it exactly. Like I said, section by section is really important. If you don't do it section by section, it'll usually tell you that it's colliding with stuff. So we get our gate put there, looks good to me, and let's run it back around. Now I'm also going to do a chicken fenceless pasture. But with the chicken one, I'm not actually going to put a fence up. I'm just going to let them run wild in a little field off kind of by my shed. And I think that'll work perfect. We've got a pond over there. I just think that that'll look good with them back there. Match that fence up. That looks nice. Those are some nice animal enclosures there. Now, normally I do a lot more fences. I've been trying to do builds a little more realistic. Fences are expensive. Not everyone has fences on every inch of their property. So I'm just gonna do the animal pen fences this time. I know, it's weird. It's not on par for what I do, but I don't know, guys. Sometimes you gotta change it up a little bit. Like, we're building a farm. That's changing it up, right? Alright, so we're going to use gravel for this other part here. Otherwise, we use asphalt paint just for the main driveway. So we're going to run our gravel back to our barn, and then we're just going to make a nice circle around it, you know, so you have area to drive back here with a trailer, turn around, things like that. We'll kind of smooth up those corners there. I don't like sharp corners. I like to round them off. It makes it a lot easier. Now we're also going to make another road here to access our animals. That's very important. You got to feed them. You got to get your products from them. You got to take care of them, water them, things like that. So let's make a little path out to them. We're going to soften up those corners there. Like I said, I like to soften up the corners. I think it just looks nicer. It makes it way easier to drive in as well. Especially if you do fences. Pretty common that you'll run into them in this game. So I make my roads pretty wide. I'm not doing a ton of fences in this one. You guys are more than welcome to. Once I painted it, you can see that it's pretty rough right here. So I do go back with the soften tool, and it actually did let me fix it. So I was pretty excited about that. Now we're gonna try and make this slope a little less. Didn't really succeed too much, but it did kind of smooth it out a little bit, but we'll just widen it out and that'll fix that right up. We're gonna get rid of that mud there as well. I don't really like the dirt. I mean, sometimes it looks good on some farms, but I like to think this is like a fancy farm, right? So we have all of that placed now. We've got our fences, we've got our animal fences. We still haven't done the water yet, remember that. The water, we wait on the water because if you do water before fences, the fences will say collision with item. You don't want that. That gets super annoying and super, you know, painful to deal with. So we're not going to deal with that. We're going to put a pond in the center of this little landmass here. And we're also going to put an island here. I have done this before in a few of my builds, and I really like doing the island. So we're going to do another island on this one. Once again, the fishing in this is kind of fun, entertaining, so I like having the option to go out to a personal little island. When I hit that with the soften tool, it did kind of mess it up and get rid of my island, so we're just going to redo that there. Be careful when softening because it's very easy to delete your progress, but we'll just do a quick check here with the water and see how it looks. Once again, that's in others, and this is part of the natural water, rivers, and ponds pack. That looked pretty good to me, so let's throw some rock down on this ring, guys. Got that rock down. That looks pretty nice there. I am happy with that. Let's go back and get our water in there now. Kind of annoying when you get so many decoration packs and object packs, things like that. You get a lot of stuff to go through. But you'll start to learn where it's at after a couple of builds and it won't be so painful. So I can kind of see here into the water, so we're just going to try and raise that up, and it actually worked pretty good, so I'm happy with that. Now we're going to go around and get rid of that extra rock. Alright, paint up that grass there. Like I said, you can mow this grass, you can do anything with this grass. So I do like to always put the grass. I think it is very important, and it elevates any build or property, to be completely honest. And you can mow this and use it for your goat or sheep food, which is really nice and cool if you ask me. Now that we got fences down, we can put our water in our ponds because there's nothing that it can collide with now. Once again, that's only an issue with the fences. You don't have to worry about that with decorations or objects, buildings, things like that. You just have to worry about the water peeking out. These aren't super big ponds. I mean, the goat pond is kind of big. I should have almost done the horses where the goats are, but that's okay. Not a big deal at all. So I look from an above view and I kind of see that that'd be nice if there was an extra little driveway there. So we add an extra driveway. Leave that patch of grass there. I think I'm going to put some trees there. And then we just touch this up. Just always kind of go into that, you know, sky view. Look at your path. Imagine driving through there with a pickup and a trailer. If it's somewhere that needs to be accessed with a trailer, I guess. But if it needs to have a trailer go through there, envision driving through there with a trailer. Are you going to be annoyed every time you have to do it? Or is it going to be enjoyable and a nice little drive? Go smooth and go good. Make it go good, guys. Just plan ahead a little bit. Like I said, all of this is kind of random. You just kind of have to go bit by bit. If you know you want animals, be sure you have the space for it. I like to use fenceless pastures. Not everyone does, but I like the customness of it. And like I said, be sure you do your ponds and all of that planning before you place your animal pens. If you don't do that and lower the ground, it's not going to work right. So now it is time to get our chicken pasture. So we're going to smooth out a pretty big area there. Once again, they've got eggs, so they produce eggs, so you are going to want that space. Looks pretty good to me. Let's smooth this out quickly. Perfect. There's our chicken coop. Once again, we're going to place our own, but we're doing it up over here, and we're not going to put a fence. They're going to be free range chickens. I like that. Something different, right? So we're gonna run it back here. We're not gonna go too crazy, like all over our roads and stuff. I don't wanna hit them, but we will have them all in the trees over here, because you gotta have trees, right? All right, looks good to me. Let's fix up this little dirt here, paint over it, make it all gravel. That looks nice, and then let's hit it with our grass. Now, it did paint a little spot of grass there, but we're just gonna go over it with the long grass. I like the long grass. Looks better if you ask me. Now that we have that chicken pasture set, we can go back and do our water for this pond. Yet another pond, right? Gotta love it. Okay, boom, water, done. Pond, awesome, beautiful, love it. Okay, back to grass paint. We haven't even hit decorations yet, guys, so this is kind of a lengthy video, so I apologize for that, but I appreciate anyone who is still here and hanging out and learning with us. Don't forget, guys, drop a like, drop a subscription if you haven't already. Come hang out on TikTok. I'm live almost every single weekday. Weekends I tend not to stream as much, and you know, you gotta have some time to yourself, but almost every day, 1 p.m. Central Time. That TikTok is the exact same as my YouTube here, guys. Also have daily posts on TikTok as well. Tips, tricks, funny content, you name it, we've got it. All right, we're just touching up our grass here. It's kind of a tedious process, but you've got to go back and forth, back and forth. We are actually going to put a path there for the garbage cans and walking up to the back patio there. So we're just going to delete the grass in that spot. Let's go back to our paint tool. We need a path out to our shed. All right, so we're just gonna use some gravel, and we're not making a big path. We're just gonna make it look nice. We'll run that right up to the side of the garage there. Perfecto. And then like I said, we need a pad for our garbage cans. That looks good to me. Coming out here, let's skip around a little bit and put a bridge to our island. This part of the bridge pack, I like this one. Those lights actually do work at nighttime. I just think it looks really, really good if you ask me. So we try and soften the ground a little bit and make it match. It doesn't work perfect, but it does look good. I'm pretty happy with that. Now we will throw some grass down up here and kind of kill the tall grass so it looks like an actually used path. I'm just going to paint some patches of some short grass. I don't know, it just looks good if you ask me. Soften up those edges, round those corners, make sure that it's easy to drive on. Imagine having a big trailer and trying to drive down that path. We also need to feed our animals and store our grains, and food would be a silo. So you want to be sure that you can put the silo somewhere where you can access it with a truck, trailer, anything like that, whatever you're using. So we're going to put it right here. I know the chicken pen is kind of through here, but they can walk around it, they'll be fine. And by walk around, I mean they're probably going to walk through it, but that's okay. That tree kind of made me go a little extreme there, so we're just going to throw some grass back down. Boom. Looks good to me. I'm happy with it. All right, so we got food, we got veggies, we got animals. What else do we need, guys? Oh, water. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to throw a little water hydrant right there. I think that, you know, with all the ponds, it's pretty realistic that a farm like this would have, you know, a natural water well or some way to get water. So we're just gonna throw that down there. Fair enough, right? Smooth out that ground, make it look good, and let's throw some more grass down. Alright, now we need clutter. We're gonna start with the tool workbench. This in tools, you can customize your vehicles, you can repair your vehicles, all of that. There is a trash can and a light switch right there, so kind of be mindful of that when you place it. And I usually will put it there though. We also like this wall-mounted still high pressure washer. This is so nice to have. You can walk up to it, grab that wand, wash whatever's near it. Awesome, absolutely love it. Phenomenal mod, guys, highly recommend it. We're just gonna quickly run through others and place a few things. This is kind of my signature with this house. I love doing this on this house, just kind of makes it look a little more homey, you know, natural, looks good. I like the greenery, love the flowers, the plants, the trees. We love that stuff, guys. We are gonna throw a little flower bed down here too. You can customize these guys, keep that in mind. There's a lot of things that you can customize in this game that I feel like people don't realize or forget about all the time. Just always look for that customization menu, see if you can customize it and see what you can do. I do like throwing this big rack in this barn, just to store like food bags or, you know, pallets of wool, anything like that. It kind of peeked out the back there, so we are going to delete that and reposition it. Move it a little bit in there. That looks good to me though. We can store things on it, still have plenty of parking inside. Running back through others here, we're just going to see what else we can add. There isn't really much, but we always need that mailbox. Since we're not doing like a big grand entrance, I'm just going to throw a simple mailbox down there. And let's start adding some clutter. Clutter it up, guys. We're going to put a little bench on our island. We'll throw a little water tank back by the pressure washer. And this little bin, I don't know. We're just trying to make it look like somebody's lived here a long time. This looks pretty good for the horses. Coming around here, pallet jack, yeah, let's throw a pallet jack in there. You can't use it, but it looks good for decorations. Now this is part of the Highland fishing expansion, this decoration here, so if you can't find it, that is part of the DLC, but I do really like this. There are some decorations that the DLC does come with, so keep that in mind. Like I said, if it says Highland Fishing Expansion, you do need the DLC. Otherwise, everything else you can do on any map, on any platform, guys. All platforms. We're gonna throw this boat back here. That looks pretty nice. And then we're just gonna keep cluttering it up. We'll put a little rock bed there for a tree. I don't know. Running back down to others, I remember this round flower bed. You can customize it and put a tree in it. So we'll put that out front. And we're just gonna find some other random junk here. That looks like a little wheelbarrow full of bricks, you know, just random stuff. We'll put a car back in the trees. You never know. I have a buddy who the other day was building on a shared map that we have, and he did this full bay like man cave, and I just love that idea for this garage. So I'm gonna take that from him. Shout out to you, Hunter. Thank you. Alright, this is part of the placeable dairy farm package. I like those tiles. We'll fix the grass up later. I'm not going to swap tools, lose my spot in decorations, but they're kind of a nice little touch for a pathway or countertop. I've used it for really anything. We're going to throw some barrels back here. Don't want to get too extreme with some of this stuff though. Keep in mind, guys, you can use snapping, toggle snapping on and off. That does help. And then if it won't let you place it, press Y or triangle. That's your free mode. If you've made it this far without knowing that though, we might have some other issues. Just kidding, guys. Alright, we're just gonna continue on looking through our decorations, seeing what we can throw to clutter it up. This looks like a big backup generator, so we're just gonna throw that right up next to the barn here. I don't know, guys. I don't know, we're reaching, we're just trying to make it look like somebody lives here. We're gonna throw some garbage cans out front. Once again, I know this is a Scottish map. I know that this is not an American map. I know everything I placed is American. Oh no. I'm just kidding. But in all reality, guys, do this on any map. You could do this on Alma. You could do this on any of the maps that you want. I just really like this DLC. I've had so much fun with the DLC, with the map, with the fishing, the boats, the fish farming. It's been a blast. So I like to use this map, and we're going to cover this with trees anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But we are just going to keep throwing clutter in. This just more decorations, guys. Download every decoration pack. Normally they don't take up that much space, and it just elevates a build. This is kind of a little fire pit here. Once again, we'll fix that grass later. We kind of know where we're placing things, so it doesn't really matter. We'll touch up those spots at the end. We're gonna put a grill over here. You never know when you're hungry after a long day taking care of your animals. Throw this little propane heater in there. Maybe it's kerosene, I don't know. Got a little wagon, throw that right there. It's just clutter, guys. We're literally just placing things to place things. I go through one by one, look at each thing and think, will this look good somewhere? And then we just kind of move around and start clicking A. That's really my method. Now I have built something similar to this on my main save for this map, so I kind of had an idea of how the layout should go for this field, but this is entirely different from that save. So, you know, the layout's also different on this one, so it is different, but I kind of knew what would work ahead of time. But I've tested it for you guys. Follow my chart here and you should have a pretty easy time. This little wood storage here is just nice. I like to add this. It's just a good little touch. Makes it look like, you know, we cut our own firewood for our fire pit over there. I didn't do any rocks on this one. If you guys want, there are decoration rocks. You can throw them around your ponds, around your island, around anything like that. I didn't really feel like going and doing that on this one. They do start to take up a lot of slots depending on how many ponds you have. So I'm not going to do that on this one just for the sake of saving some slots. There are reasons why I don't build farms on Settlers. You guys know Settlers is my favorite map. I don't care to build farms on there. Farms take up a lot of slots. Like right here, we're nearing 1,000 slots and we're not even done yet. You know, we don't have trees down, we don't have equipment, we don't have vehicles, we don't have animals. It takes up a lot of space, and you'd be shocked at how quickly you will run out of slots on a map like Settlers trying to build a neighborhood and a farm. It's possible, don't get me wrong. It's just really tough. So I like to build my farms on other maps and have Settlers as a completely different world. You know, we're doing RP over there, we're doing different things. Now this is part of the movable shelf and bench pack. I love this pack. Super good pack to have. You can place the benches and pick them up and move them around. So there's this little loft area up in this barn, so I like to put these movable benches up here. It can be tricky to put benches and decorations where you can't see, as everyone knows. You know, it can be very challenging. So these movable benches add a lot of clutter, and they're really nice to have. Now, pro tip with these, if you have the workbench like we do downstairs, you can take these over to it and customize these and change what you see on the shelving. Really nice touch with those guys. Not a lot of people know about it though. So I do like that feature. It's kind of cool. I do have some saves where I've pulled everything off of the pallet racks, and I have empty pallet racks for bags of food, you know, things like that, you know, just for the small touches. I was gonna do a drain in here. I couldn't get it lined up right. My OCD wasn't gonna let me let that slide, so we're gonna skip putting a drain in here. If I would have used snapping when I placed the building, it would have snapped good for the drain as well. I'm not dealing with it. We're just not gonna place it. Alright, we ran through decorations. Let's quickly scroll through others again, see if there's anything else, but there really isn't in others. I mean, it's a lot of houses and water. So we're gonna go back to containers here, or actually tools. Tools has a chest. You can put like fuel cans in there, things like that. It's openable. Kind of a cool little thing, neat little touch to add to a farm. I like it. So we'll put that in there. We still have to put that bench away and kind of fix that grass up at the front, so we'll do that right now. So all I'm doing is pressing X. If you're on PlayStation, you can press square. That'll delete that grass. And we're just gonna put a little bit of this lighter gravel here under the path just to make that look nice. And then we'll finish our grass off around our flower bed and backyard area, I guess. We kind of treat it like a front yard, but it is technically the backyard and back door. Touch that grass up around there, and for some reason it puts asphalt under the flower beds. So we're gonna just touch up that, put grass down, make that look nice. I like it. All right, like I said, move those benches, get those placed. And we're gonna run back and fix up our fire pit. So they don't really have any good lawn chair options, so we're just using these green plastic ones. Whatever, it works, guys. They would blow away in the first slight of wind, but that's okay. Now we're gonna go crazy. This is gonna look nuts for a little bit. We're gonna place bushes and plants everywhere, make it look overrun. I like to do landscaping, so I find it entertaining to go and clean all this up and mow, things like that. So I place bushes, plants, grass, all of that anywhere that isn't a road. I love the vibes of that. So we're gonna put these bushes everywhere. We get out a little bit bigger one. Let's put it around that junk combine. Make it look like this stuff has been here a while, you know what I mean? These purple ones kind of look good right there. These are map specific, just so you guys know. The trees, bushes, and things like that are map specific to this map. If you're on a different map, you're gonna have different options than I do. That's not a big deal. I do like the look of this though. If you look in the trees off to the side of the fields or in the forests that they have, this is kind of how they did it, you know. They'd do a big bush and then some green and like purple under it, because there's green bushes and purple bushes. So I like to just kind of randomly place a ton of them. I'm big into the trees as well, guys. Big tree guy. So the trees are gonna be everywhere, and it's gonna fill in the rest of those spaces and make it look kind of overgrown a little bit. We'll go back with those green bushes now and just scatter them everywhere. Like I said, I go crazy with this. I put bushes and everything everywhere. I do this after the grass though. But yeah, there's no rhyme or reason how I do it. We just slap her down, call her good. Throw that stuff all around there. That looks nice to me. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason, guys. This is all random. I remember that we need to fix this little gravel over here. We're gonna make this path kind of go to the back where we could chop our firewood, things like that for our fire pit, and we'll just throw a little gravel right around there. And we also are gonna need to make a path in the front. But first, let's throw some plants down. This is part of the natural water plants. I really like this mod. Now, the shape of this kind of did make this a little goofy to place, but we kind of figured it out. These do change colors with the seasons, which is really cool. I like playing with fixed visual month when I'm like, you know, just doing small things or RP. I usually do October. Love the orange and the colors and all of that. And these do change colors with the seasons, so that's pretty cool to see. So we're just gonna throw all of these down here. Some of these do make noises, so we'll put a noisy one up in the top here, kind of by where we're gonna be living. We're just gonna throw some random stuff down. Like I said, guys, all of this looks crazy right away, but when you start walking around, this is gonna look so good and so nice. So keep in mind, left and right on D-pad will change size of your trees. Be careful, watch for power lines, watch for your buildings, watch for fences and all of that. Once you place these trees, you either have to use a tree be gone or cut them down. You don't wanna do that. Once again, I don't have a rhyme or reason for how I put my trees down. We just randomly go through and place them. I do, you know, have an idea like, oh, I want the tree on the island. Or, oh, I kind of want a border here or a tree here. But it all comes out random. I just usually will swap the sizes, see if it fits there, and start to fill in the gaps. I really like the forest looks, and we kind of live in a forest here, so we're going to use a whole bunch of trees. Once again, I like to use trees that are native to the map, so these are all specific to this map. You guys might be using different trees, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. We're gonna leave a little viewing spot for the front door there so that you can see the front door from the road. Once again, cry about it. It's a Scottish map. I know. Oh no. But that's okay. I think that this looks really, really good. And I don't know, I'm obsessed with building like this with the trees, the forest look. And remember how we left that little cutout? We're gonna throw 2 little trees right there, you know, so it makes sense as to why we didn't put the road there. Just keep putting them down until you feel like it looks good enough. Sometimes I'll change the camera angle and look at it from different angles, or I'll hop in a vehicle and go for a drive, you know, see how it looks, how I feel about it. But this is starting to really fill in nice. I did try and use a lot of these trees to cover, you know, a lot of the American buildings that I use and things like that. I know we left a little peek window for the front of the house to the road. But that's okay, you barely see it. That looks amazing though. I'm so happy with how this has turned out. Now, we didn't actually paint all the way up to the road yet, so we're gonna grab the road kit. This is the road kit mod. You place them down like that, it looks crazy, but then you delete them and it actually paints everywhere that you placed them all the way up to the road for you. So super nice little tip and trick. Absolutely love using it. But how did this turn out, guys? What do you think? Now keep in mind, you could interchange the animals. You could do cattle, you could do pigs, you could do anything like that, however you wanted. This is all interchangeable. I like doing the sheep and horses and chickens. Those are my 3 favorites, so I tend to stick with those. But you know what, you can do whatever you want. That looks good. We're gonna throw a tree in our little bed there. Now that one isn't native to this map, but that's okay. We also need a path to our front door, so we're just going to throw a quick path in. You don't really use this front door once again. It's kind of a pointless front door. We face it the other way. We'll do a quick drive through here and just look at what we have built. Look at how good this looks though, guys. I did change that visual month to October. You can see here the horses there. We have all the goats, the pond, all of that. Absolutely beautiful. Keep in mind, guys, I do live stream usually Monday through Friday. I'll take one of those days off randomly at 1 p.m. Central and post daily TikToks. I try and post on YouTube regularly. Otherwise, guys, drop a comment, drop a like, drop a subscription. What do you guys want to see me do next? Thank you, guys. Have a great one.